Four.
17, 5, and 1. Alrighty, everybody, welcome in to another episode of Wine Wednesday. We've got a few viewers pummeling in. Very little comments, only one from Matthew. So a little slower start, but it's alright. Usually viewers
Really?
pop in. Yeah, unless the connection's bad on my end, but usually people trickle in towards the end of the show anyway. You know, like 8 p.m. is when people kind of are done with their day, but some more comments coming in. Chris, Slim, or it says Jim. Welcome in, everyone.
Jim.
Jim, and then other Jim with an S.
Other Jim?
And
Jim's.
oh, anyways, thanks for coming, everybody. Did we cancel? Did we have Wine Wednesday last week? There's been 2 weeks recently that we were just busy, and we've been on and off with our schedules the last couple of weeks. But we're back, we're here, and we're live. So, anyways, the usual. Throw in some questions. We'll talk about markets. Today was kind of busy. In terms of eventful, if things were moving, doesn't necessarily mean you had to make money or not. My day, in terms of money being made, wasn't big, but just a lot of action, a lot of events with the FOMC and markets moving and things are shaking, and yeah, just exciting times. What was it all? The ATCH breakout kept going, working $2 in after hours. So
Really?
yep, started to ramp
That's
a
not
little
fair.
more. Yeah, kept
I
going.
sold it.
But I guess before we go further, what are we drinking, Dom? Tea, coffee, water?
I have a sparkling water, real squeezed fruit, lemon.
Wow, very nice. Kind of wish Huddie was here to share what I'm drinking, but I think you can guess, Dom.
You wish Huddie was here. White wine?
No, it's
Truly?
it's my favorite kind of wine.
The pink one?
Nope.
you say
it
wine?
only comes around once a year.
Halloween wine? Is that it?
Yep. The witch's
There
brew.
you go. Wow, has it been a year?
Yeah, right. Doesn't feel like a year.
Where did you get that? I want to get that for next week.
This is Trader Joe's.
Okay, witch's brew.
They're Halloween's coming up early, or not early, but it's it's right around everyone's corner in September, and so Kelly bought me some, and this is my first glass of the season, and it tastes just as good as last year.
First glass of the season.
Oh, just sweet sugar, just tastes amazing. It's like getting a sweet wine, but then red. And just it's like honestly, people probably call it a dessert wine because it is just too good. That's why I like it.
Sounds tasty.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah. FOMC was today. The markets expected exactly what was going to happen, which was they were going to cut rates by 0.25%, so 0.25%. I watched a couple. I don't want to say a couple, but I read a few things up on it. Watched a couple videos on it, and ultimately, I think the consensus of people who are really following it is that it really isn't going to make that big of a difference. I think the markets are back up, which are great, but I think the biggest criticism is that Powell will still be too late. Where he probably could have, would have covered or lowered rates by 0.5%, like 0.5. Again, only time will tell. I'm not really for or against his decision. It's just something to think about, that if the job market continues to get even more weak and more just not as stable as it once was or strong as it once was, and gets more layoffs or just less hires kind of thing, then it people call Powell too late Powell, and he might be too late if he doesn't lower them quickly enough. So we'll see. But markets are bullish. Crypto's pumping because I think people kind of figured out that lower rates equal to higher crypto prices. We'll see if that lasts, though. I'm not truly convinced just yet. But yeah, things are going, right? Open's back. Open crashed on the interest rate cuts, but is back to roughly prices it was at right before it announced those rate cuts. Obviously, many of other small caps didn't really care. That's why we like small caps. But then, obviously, some large caps reacted to it and also closed at their highs with the NASDAQ. So, interesting day, interesting times. But I think tomorrow will be, just more confirmation of which trend and which way we're going. Interesting stat, though, before we change maybe topics, is that whenever there has been rate cuts, I think this is 100% accuracy so far. It doesn't mean I have to continue. I don't know how many examples of this are there. I don't think there's many. But when interest rates have been cut when the stock market has been in less than 1% of its highs, 1 year later, the market is above those current levels at an average of 15%. So we definitely cut rates between 1% of highs. if history were to repeat itself, we would be 15% higher exactly a year from today. So we'll see if that plays out. Who knows? Doesn't mean there can't
So
be
if we're
turbulence.
only at 14% a year yesterday, you just buy the SPY with everything you can.
Wait, say that. Ask that one
It's
more
gonna
time.
You say it's gonna be 15% higher a year from right now.
Yep, that's
So if we're
statistically
only
that's
up 14% a year from now yesterday, on
yeah.
that day, you know that a 1% move is coming, or to round out that 1% move.
I don't know if that's how it works. It's an average of 15%.
Oh, that's
Could you
interesting.
could you imagine if that's how it worked? They're like we're only up 10% a year from now, and then we have a day left. Or like the SPY is going to be up 5% tomorrow, and it is. That'd be
The math wouldn't work out like that, but because it would be a different percent of that day, so it would
yes,
work
it
out
would
to be smaller.
It would be smaller,
But
right?
whatever the difference is, I think we could still make it work.
There's still money to be made out there. We'll have to come back in September. And
Stupid
find out next year.
averages.
Yeah,
I'll make a note.
put it on my calendar for next year. Anyways, Randy says, Dom, did you capitalize on ATCH or stop out from this morning's pullback? I'm assuming Randy watched Good Morning NASDAQ because it was a little choppy to start before it actually broke out.
I guess I capitalized. I think my last sell was 150s, so I didn't have any panic sells or any random stuff like that. I sold. I don't know what average of, but I had a 96 average, and I probably sold. I don't know what I started with, how much size, but it was like a 10-hour win, so it was pretty good. I didn't have to. I just looked at it. I had to do kid stuff in the mid afternoon till now. I don't know about that pullback to 122. I probably would have had to stop in at like 120, but if I was watching that, I don't think I would have liked it. Yeah, I would. I guess you could say I capitalized. It was one of my bigger trades of the past 2 months, or in August and September. So it was fun. It was nice to see something work. It was weird, really weird.
Yeah, good breakout. Very nice. But yeah, anyways, I don't see any more questions. This could be a slower night. I mean, we got 46 of you guys in here. Only 13 likes.
All right, we'll close it out early. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for being here. Yeah, it's your time to shine. Otherwise, you can just hear us ramble forever.
I already did a webinar, dude. Okay, Kyle.
Yeah, Dom's already done.
I already
the
did my
rambling.
ramble.
Yeah, but otherwise,
Is there anything on watch for tomorrow?
Not that I know of. I have a couple swings that I want to watch. I like SOUN. I like kind of like Nubis, but I could see myself missing that one. And then there's OUST for the swings. But in terms of day trades, again, it's the same thing that we talked about. Good morning, like today. I'm watching Wolf. Don't think that's going to break out just yet, but still watching it. If it does, over the threes or the low threes, would love to see Open shake everyone out and go over highs tomorrow. Because it clearly didn't die today, but it didn't go higher either. So it'd be pretty sick to have it base here, never go below 10, but then break over 11, let's call it, tomorrow. I feel like that's a pretty strong way to get a move to 12 fairly quickly.
SOUN is kind of cute.
Yeah, you
I
like
might
that
have
look?
to jump into the swing trading for a week.
I like that look. I kind of like it. I think it could use more time. Like I think if it goes over, the 1550s, I think I'm gonna have to give it a shot. But if it wanted to consolidate for another few days, I wouldn't dislike it anymore. I actually would probably like it a little more. But it's just on the horizon here. It's kind of creeping up.
It's pretty. Gosh, I have something stuck in my throat. It's itching. I feel like I don't remember that move at the end of last year that took
Crazy,
it from
right?
8 to 20. Was it just like not playable? Is that I'm trying to remember it?
Well,
Was it like
you're not alone because I guess we'll pull up a chart so people can follow along here on my trading view. SOUN, I feel the same, Dom. I remember the run in March of 2024 more so than late last year. And yeah, I don't know if it was because it wasn't playable or it just
that's when you were on your cruise or wherever you were?
That was in March.
Mexico or something.
March
Yeah.
of 2024 was the cruise, and I was swinging the short, and it was amazing because it practically paid for my cruise and then some. But this run,
I think I know that. Geez, sorry. That break it over like 10. I think, dude, I can't talk. I got the hiccups.
I love that.
And I'm trying to chug a carbonated beverage to get rid of this.
That probably will only hurt it for a little bit.
Um, the $10 breakout I remember was like really tough. I remember I only had like 300 shares or something. Like,
Yeah.
and I took it from like 10 to 13, but and then from there it was like super. That was when Quantum was running, so
Yep. And Quantum's
makes
running again.
sense.
So SOUN might be a nice candidate, a secondary candidate. But yeah, I don't remember trading this at all on this move. I remember not buying it. I then remembering how choppy it was last time. Like even though I made money on this short on this breakdown, it's because the chart kind of looked and aligned really well. But I remember not shorting this at all up in the 20s because it was just so choppy. I mean, it just took such a longer time than normal for it to actually collapse. And then finally it did. And actually, it did have a breakdown. I mean, it did have this like $19 breakdown, which I guess if you were there for, it was very similar to the $7.50 breakdown last time. But again, it took some time. So I really did not participate in that move at all. But if we go again, I'm definitely watching this for long because now I swing trade. Did not swing trade back then. So even if I did buy it, I probably would have done similar to you, where just bought it at 10, sold it at 12 or 13, and thought I was a wizard, and then see it $10 a share higher 2 weeks later. So it happens. It'd be like that sometimes.
It totally be.
Jabril says, I'm so tired of this never ending up, or of this never ending market as it doesn't make sense. I mean, things just can go so much further than you expect. The party can go on so much longer than people. What's the quote? The markets can stay
Irrational longer than you can stay.
Solvent. Is it solvent or level
I was
headed?
gonna say relevant, but that wasn't it.
Yeah, they could just keep on going, and you will.
Jabrel's always asking about that. Do you have like a special strategy that only works in like downtrending markets, or?
Yeah, Jabril's just patiently waiting for his time to shine again, maybe. But
It doesn't need to make sense. I think you're stressing yourself out for no reason. This is why I take the real stupid, ignorant approach to the markets. No matter how much money I've made trading penny stocks, I didn't even know what the magnetic seven was. Like, and if you do, like, you still don't know what the market's going to do tomorrow. Like, you cannot stress yourself out worrying about that stuff. It's going to do what it does. You just got to let it do what it does.
yep.
And every day you show up, you do what you do. And everyone does what they do. You know?
You take it one day at a time. Anyways. Hey fellas, Taylor from Montana, right? What's going on, Taylor? Been a while getting back into trading for almost a year off. Alrighty, well, welcome.
Oh, what's up? You know him. What's up, Taylor?
Yeah,
You've met him from boot camps and
I have.
strong dude.
Yes.
Taking a year off. Man, that's crazy.
Well,
We're here every day. That's crazy. A year. I don't know if I could do that.
You think you couldn't step away for a year?
What was it? What am I doing during that year?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Like, is there computers and stuff around me? Like,
Yeah,
can I see,
how,
like,
how easily accessible is it to
am I like
a,
in the woods on like a year-long hike? Like,
yeah, like how accessible?
I don't know. I think I'm like, and I've thought about this, like about like retirement one day. Like, am I gonna do it till I'm 40? Am I do it all the way till I die? And I'm like, I think I was just gonna roll with the punches and do what I want to do as long as I'm having fun still. But I don't know if I could just like disconnect. Like Gratani, I feel like disconnected for a while when he had kids. Like, I don't know if I could fully do it. Like, it's not because I love it. It's just because I feel like it's part of me now. Like, I need to know what's going on in small cap land.
Yeah, I would have a difficult time. And I think I would have a difficult time because it's the way I would explain this is how I try to explain it to. I went on a bachelor party 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and I wasn't planning on working on Friday. So we left Thursday night, and then it was going to be Friday, Saturday, and then come back home Sunday. And I had zero intention of working Friday. I was like, I'm going to start my weekend early. I don't see anything crazy. Like, we're just going to take the weekend early. And then I remember waking up late. This was the day open broke over 4. This was the day it ran to like 4 from 4 to 5, and I missed it. Or then I bought the dip at like 420s when it pulled back. But like the reason why I say that is because I had full intentions of stopping, right, for at least a day, and then all of a sudden I just I'm too connected. I get messages, I get alerts, I naturally have to check on positions that I currently have on just to make sure I'm not losing my ass, right? That no negative news came out. I have to just check on them, and all of a sudden it's like whether I want to take off or not, like I'm in it. Like I'm in the trenches, right? It's very similar to how I think of. I have a cousin who's a lawyer, and like, yeah, he goes on vacation, but if one of his clients emails him, like you have to be in it. You can't just drop everything and leave up to some degree, depending on how entwined you are. And again, I'm just so entwined that if I really wanted to separate, like I would have to have no positions. Any long-term investments would be like I could literally not watch for months and not care, and then maybe I can give myself the best attempt of not doing it. But I'm just too, I'm too sewn into the entire world to really even if I wanted to, like something would come up to where I have to give it at least 15 minutes of my attention at any given point in the day, kind of thing. So that's what makes it tough.
Solid
but,
15, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it could be an hour, it could be a day, but like, to have the full confidence of not being sucked back in would be very difficult. So, Nikita asked Dom, are you going to trade Turb tomorrow?
I just pulled that up. Technically it closed red, I think. I don't know for a fact because my charts are wrong right now. It looks like it closed just red. That's an interesting reversal chart. That's another one that I would not be surprised to see go back to the highs. But you got big volume day one, no volume day two. Kind of an inside day. Yes, I will be watching it. I don't know if I'll trade it yet, if it sets up nicely. Maybe ATCH started the next 2 months so that reversals work again. That would be dope. So I'll be watching it.
I like it. Small cap is straight up and down from last week. How do you guys deal with market condition transitions?
Market condition transitions.
I knew you'd like that one.
Oh, give me a beat.
Give me some bass.
I'm not a rapper.
Are you referring to that? What's his face? Super Hot Fire. You
Yeah,
seen that video? So funny. Like, but I'm not a rapper.
but I'm not a rapper.
So dumb and just so good. It's just hilarious. But how do we deal with changing market conditions? I mean, that's experience. That's learning to kind of pivot on the flip of a coin, right? Like, I mean, two things. Well, again, one is having, like I just said, having experience to make adjustments quickly, or two, not be so caught up in the environment you're in that you make it difficult to pivot in the first place. Like when you say, LM, when you say small caps are straight up and straight down, I don't know what you're referring to. For me, I don't have my worldview or my viewpoint of last week going into this week isn't this, we were just straight up an hour straight down. Like it's just an ever-flowing river of information and stocks and opportunity, and that opportunity leaving and then going to the next play. Like it's just this ever-flowing cycle. It's not necessarily this small cap went straight up and now they're going straight down. How do you handle it? Like I wasn't that sucked in, in the first place, right? But if you are sucked in, having that experience over time to pivot quickly. And if you are long biased and all of a sudden all your longs are stopped working this week, like, yeah, you should be able to tell almost immediately, right? Enough experience over time, like you'll see when you have opportunities and when they go away almost overnight. And that would be the first sign to tell you like, hey, you probably don't have to trade today, or you probably will be taking less trade this week than last week. Stuff like that. I don't know if you have something to add there, Dumb, but it's kind of
I kind of feel this. I mean, for me, I think I kind of get what you mean. Like last week was like, we had some 1,000% runners, like, but like I always kind of think about it. I bring it back to like my world, my niche, my spot where I belong in the markets. And last week wasn't any different than this week from that perspective, because I'm going to trade when opportunity in my niche comes about. And if I'm always doing that, the market around me can spin in different ways in formulations and condition transition. But, if I just do the same thing every day, I'm usually going to be in pretty good situation. I'm going to go through periods where I struggle and periods where I find success. And I don't really commit too much to one way or the other either, especially being a risk reward type of trader where my average winner needs to be significantly bigger than my average loser. I can't really afford to ever put my foot too far off the gas or get too emotional because that one trade could be the difference between, doubling or tripling my month or being red. And so I don't take anything too personally. I don't take anything to the bank. I just take the trade in front of me. And I feel like the more you do that, I feel like so many styles of trader are like forced you to like need to know exactly what everyone's thinking and doing right now. Where's the money at? Where's dumb money? Where's smart money? Where's the momentum? Um, I don't pay too much attention to that stuff, and that's usually to my detriment. But it's more of like a Jack Kellogg trait, I feel like, and little old me is more focused on just following big daily chart patterns when they're there.
I agree. I agree. Okay, good. I asked or answered Chris's question before he even asked it. Just talking about the markets. That's good. Glade says he entered ATCH at 110, risking $1, then panicked when it cracked early. Should have risked a little day. That does happen. Panics can be scary and or shake people out. You won't be the first and you won't be the last. All you can do is review and learn for next time and prep for next time. Be better next time. Jim says OPI first green day tomorrow. Jim, I took OPI off my screen fairly early into the open today, and I really regret I did because it was a classic sell the news event on the interest rates because it looked like in the chart once interest rates got announced. I mean, I think it was down 50% at one day, right? The close was 80 cents. I think the low was 40. Like, yeah, I wish I paid attention to that one because what a sell-off. I'm not going to say I would have shorted it, but just not even watch it. I have no idea whether I would have or I wouldn't. Well, at least if I had a chart up, like I could maybe have a better, replay in my mind of like, hey, did I even think about it? But didn't even have a chart up to think about it. But what a sell-off. But
Yeah, kind of like a late day fade type of idea.
yeah,
On like the second red day.
yeah. But I mean, I'll let Dom probably give you a better answer because I probably won't buy it for first green day, but I'm sure it maybe qualifies. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it definitely qualifies. Plenty of volume today. Um, Really nice pullback. Kind of opened itself up from like 110 down to the 30s. I kind of have mixed reviews on the cheapies.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I feel like sometimes like no one cares once they go back down to where they came from. Versus like a stock that was from 1 to 20 and now is at 10. Like there's people who think like, oh, the party's still going on. This is still cheap. When people see a 50-cent stock, they see cheap bad. But it'll be on watch. I will be watching. It's similar style to ATCH. And so what do we have? That one in Turb. I'll make my watch list tonight for all the Clovers. But it looks like that will be on there.
All right, beautiful. Jay asks, Kyle, any good resources to learn about Kuomagi style you've been stalking? Straight from him. I mean, he's got a YouTube channel that is, a few years old, but all his videos are still valid, and he teaches what he knows there. He has a website that talks about what he knows and what he trades there. That is where right there, straight from him. And if it's not straight from him, there's arguably 20 other online YouTube channels and Twitter accounts that like are just fanboy accounts of his. Like it's so funny because I think he learned from Stockbee the kind of the general swing strategy, and somehow just him either was streaming every day or just him being so good at it. Like he really created a brand and a knowingness about him where people who do swing trade, I mean, love him. Like he is that dude, to the point where there's dozens of I call them fanboy accounts that will literally just post his content and share his stuff. It's pretty impressive. What he's done for the community, or how much the community has ended up liking him for what he's accomplished. So all that straight from him, essentially, or indirectly from him. Lucas said, well, that stat played out perfectly, or pretty accurately from last September. Yeah, so I mean, for those who follow along, rate cuts first got cut last September, after being raised for practically all of 2022 into 2023, and then 2024 they finally got cut, and then I forget when we stopped cutting, Lucas, I'm sure you remember, but at some point we stopped cutting, and then for all of 2025 did no cuts until right now again. So we'll see how that plays out, but yeah, it wouldn't shock me. I mean, again, that doesn't mean isn't going to be turbulence along the way. there's also other stats that like at least once a year or twice a year, there's always at least a 5 to 10% pullback. Or even this year, we had a, if you looked at that stat, that rate cut stat in April of this year, you would have thought there's no chance it's going to be up. But then what do you know? We have a massive bounce off the tariff panic lows. So doesn't mean it'll be a smooth 15%, but wouldn't shock me if we were there by next year. Taylor got married, has a kid on the way. Congrats, Taylor. Very exciting in times in life. I guess while you were gone, is Mia a year old yet, Dom, or no?
Just turned one.
Just turned
a couple
one.
weeks ago.
So Taylor, while you were gone, Dom, we divided ourselves. You got married and had a kid. Dom just had a kid, and I got married. So we're
all doing stuff.
Yeah, life is happening. Jabril talks about short position every and only the market pullback to make some money. Futures are always green. Oh, maybe he's having. Okay, so wait. Yeah, he's talking about maybe his strategy. He keeps a short on every day, and the market just keeps going up. Well, I'm curious then to what are you shorting? Because again, if you're shorting small caps, those are pretty independent of the overall indexes. Where and that's kind of what I love about small caps, which is like again we had one of the choppiest days in a while only because of the FOMC, and I shorted SPRC, the gap and crap, and it went nowhere. Like it didn't even tick up or down during the FOMC. It's like exactly what I want. If I want to just ignore all volatility that has to do with the FOMC. So it probably largely has to do with what you're short in the first place with, because if it follows the market, I'm sure you're banging your head against the wall. It just doesn't stop going up. At some point it will, but again, it's a difficult trend to fight for sure. Warren says, how many reattempts do you give your swings if you stopped out of them at the first attempt? That's a good question. I'm still learning and figuring out myself. What I've been pretty easily able to do so far is give it 2 attempts. So like many times, in fact, a couple of my biggest winners have come from buying in the morning. I get stopped out. I rebuy late afternoon because they re-trigger or given me another entry. I give it a second attempt, and then that second attempt works. There's been a couple times specifically on A Lab where I gave it 2 tries separately. So that first example was in the same day. Like in the same day, I gave it 2 tries, and on the second try, it actually ended up working. There's been other times on something like A Lab where I gave it 2 tries, I lost twice. It set up a third time. I said, no, I'm not going to take a third loss. I actually dodged a third loss because of it. But then I tried it the 4th time, technically, but really my 3rd time, but 4th attempt of the breakout. And then it worked, and I took it long from 103 all the way up to 170. So that was cool. Nubis is one that I have given, I think, 3 or 4 tries and have lost almost every single time. And then they announced earnings and they went up. Didn't play them after earnings. Oh, no, did play them after earnings, got lost, and then they announced their Microsoft news, and now they're up, well way higher than that. So Nubis is one I've just not been able to nail and keep losing on. And that's, again, like 4 attempts. Another one is APLD. APLD I've given like 4 attempts and have lost almost every single time, so I stopped trading that one. Quantums are hot right now, and I've given both QUBT, QBTS, and RGTI at least 2 to 3 attempts each. And I think I mentioned this in the Clover chat today. I'm like 1 for 9 of them. I think I've won on QBTS once, and it was like 1 R winner. It wasn't even a multi risk reward win. So I'm like 1 for 9 on those, and I have not bought in any of these recent moves. I'm partially tilted or tainted because of that. So hopefully that gives, it's not an exact answer, but after 3-4 attempts, I start to question, what am I doing here? Is that the right answer? I don't know, but it's what I've done so far. So, Eurostro says, Kyle, how do you scan for first red day setups? Scan for big percent gainers. That is it. I know it's more simple than most people expect, but again, I just scan for the biggest gainers.
It's too simple, Kyle.
Keep it simple. They go up one day, that's not enough, but then I scan them again on day 2, and if they are multi-day runners, they're going to be up over 10% the second day, so it hits my scanner, and then I know they've gone up two days in a row, and then it hits my scanner again, then they've been on 3 days in a row. So it's just any stock up over 10%, I'm typically have looked at it to some degree, and that is it. A lot of questions for me today. Kyle, what is your position sizing advance for a swing trader with a small account. So you're probably not going to like this answer, but I would argue swing trading with a small account can be very difficult because it depends on how you do it. But again, I say it's going to be more difficult because it's when you have, let's say you have a small account. Let's say you got an account that's like not even under, let's say you gravitate towards swing trading because you're under the PDT. Let's put it that way. Depending on how you swing trade or the strategy you swing trade with, like unless you do it insanely aggressively, which is not necessarily a safe way to do it, because if you have a small account, you want to be aggressive enough to grow it quickly, but not too aggressive that you're going to blow up and then lose all your chips, kind of thing at the poker table. And so when I think of swing trading, at least how I know it thus far, it's a strategy that's going to earn you 100, 200, 300, maybe if you're just a stud, 400% a year. I think in 2020, which again was an insane year, Kuomagi made like 700% or something nuts. And again, that was an insane year. So let's just say on average, it earns you 100 to 200%. If you're good, again, if you're just doing a small account, I imagine you don't even know how to be profitable with it yet. So you might only earn 50%. And again, you're beating the overall markets, obviously, that's great. But when you have a small account, let's say you make 50% a year, you're gonna have that small account for quite a long time. Let's say you start with a 10K account. Well, okay, first year you're at 15K. Then year 2, you're at 22K. And then year 3, you're at 33K. And again, this isn't even including taxes. This isn't even including that you're taking money out for expenses, possibly. You're paying taxes on these money. But let's say a perfect world, you never had to pull money out. Year 4, you're at 45-ish K. I'm on year 5 or 6 now. You're going to go to like 60K. Like it's a very slow grind upwards. And yes, eventually it will start to compound. And yeah, by year 10 or 20, yeah, you're going to be in the millions. Like it's going to compound itself very quickly. But that's kind of why I feel like, especially like me, Dom, Huddie, any trader who's made it, you'll hear that commonality story that it was probably in small caps or things that move quickly, because in small cap day trading wise, yeah, you can grow that account by 500%, by 1,000% if you're aggressive, right? In 2020, I grew my day trading account, or not even my account, my overall capital by like 600%, and I grew an account that was 25K. I used E-Trade when I first started trading. I stopped using E-Trade for a year or two. August 2020, I opened up an E-Trade account again for 25K. By the end of January, it was at 500. So a 2,000% increase on the small account. Of course, it was one of the most insane markets ever, right? It was the peak of 2021. So there's a caveat there. But the point is, day trading small caps can lead to that aggressive growth much faster, to where it's not a coincidence that I'm now getting into swing trading, because I can't push and be as aggressive with, say, a $2 million account day trading and try to make 500%. Like it's just not really doable for me that much at my risk tolerance. But what I can do is take a $2 million account and swing trade and make 200% on that. Yeah, of course I'm not going to make as big of a percent return, but more money is going to come into my pocket at this point in my career by swing trading. So long story short, I hate to give you a long-winded answer. I am leaning towards, like, if you have a small account, try to grow it quickly, not swing trading. Or if you're fine with it taking longer, go for it. I'm not saying don't do it, but just understand the trade-off there, right? Like,
what does Kuomagi say? Is it 1 million or 10 million? Didn't he say something like, make your first million day trading and then...
Something along those lines, where I do remember him saying, like, if you don't have at least 1 million, just know kind of what I said of, like, your growth will be slower on the dollar value actually hitting your net worth. You know what I mean? Like, you'll still make money. If you're profitable as a swing trader, great. Doesn't matter what account size you have. But if you're trying to make money that's going to quickly change your life, doing it with a small account will just be more difficult. Not impossible, but will be a slower start for sure. As for position sizing, if you're going to do it anyway, I would do it the same whether you had a big account or small account. So like Kuomagi, will, depending on how much he likes the setup, from my understanding, will pick 5, 10, 15, 20, or 25% of his account. So if he loves a setup, he'll probably buy 20% worth. So if you had a 10K account, you'd throw $2,000 in a swing trade, and this is why it's so slow, because if you hit a winner on a swing trade, like that winner usually will probably, I mean, if you get a big winner, it should be up, 30, 50, 100% on your position. Maybe if you hit a big winner, it goes up 200%. Well, even a 200% win on a $2,000 position, you're making 4K. And that might happen over like 4 months or 3 months of swinging it or 2 months of swinging it. So you can see what I mean there, where it's good. It doesn't get you that life-changing money as quickly up front as someone who gets day trading down and is able to then grow that 10K account into 50K within 6 months, let alone 50K after, a year plus of swing trading, if that makes sense. Let's see. Nathan is watching BE ? No, I mean I'm watching it, but I've missed that boat entirely. BE has gone on an insane run. There's no chance I can buy that now for a swing. Tom, have you been watching NVNI? Warren says NVNI finally breaking out on either. Are you looking at it despite the volume being low? That's probably why. Because
someone was talking to me during in the room today about it. I had it on watch for a while because it is a pretty big daily chart, but 14 million shares on 80 cents a share is just not going to cut it for me. It's been in an uptrend the last while, but there's a chance it could do like what PTNM or whatever did like a week or two ago, where it just kind of breaks out, looks bad, and then eventually gets volume. But it's just relatively so low too compared to what it's just not even playable. I mean, like you get type of moves like today it broke out, went to 86, and then came all the way back down to 69. So
yeah, crazy.
You get moves like that when liquidity is not great.
Yeah, it's too bad because if it had volume, it'd probably be much more exciting. But
it's a huge chart.
Yeah, great breakout. Just liquidity is not there for us. Do we trade IPOs? Depends what you mean by how soon. Like IPOs on the IPO
if you're saying,
day.
Yeah, no.
But
the day of.
But if it's like a week in and it's still pretty fresh, then yes, I've done that before. Nick says, "Go Ducks, go Ducks."
Go Ducks.
NASCAR Alt says, "Do you guys ever remember a week where you had four 2,500% runners? What happened last week? I don't ever remember a week like that. I've been trading small caps for 15 plus years." Yeah, it's a good question. I know we have had 2,000, 4,000% runners before, but yeah, they've been in, and I'm sure NASCAR, you would agree with this. Like they've been TPST was one last year, right? Or last year was 2 years ago, where I went from 15 cents to $20 or something crazy. We had a couple others that I forget, but yeah, there were like one-offs, right? It was just one of them, and then that was it. Yeah, and those ones did lead to other runners and like a sympathy or a sector, but it wasn't right. I would agree with you. I don't think it led to 4 separate 2,500% plus runners. Which honestly, I don't even think, it's kind of crazy. I don't even think that's that insane anymore. Not because it isn't insane. I agree with you. It is insane to what we know for anyone who's been around for 10 plus years. But why I'm not surprised though is because I'm sure you can also agree, NASCAR, is that in the last 10 years, and I almost speak from experience because it's like I've seen it happen where the retail online short selling space has just gotten so popular and so saturated that you naturally the tide is going to lift all boats. So like whether you're a short seller that has good risk management or you're a short seller that doesn't have good risk management, either way, everyone's getting squeezed. It's just whether you cut it where you should or where you cut it too late. And every trader cuts at different prices, at different levels, at different risk tolerances and different stubborn levels, right, of how stubborn you are, to where it just doesn't shock me that we've seen that, because we are just in such a newer environment that I don't think should last, but it just makes sense objectively when you think about how many people are just trying to short and don't actually know what they're doing, that it just leads to things going up to levels that have just never been seen before, because there's just so many participants that will just short anything and then just think it's going to go down, and when it doesn't, they didn't blow up, Would you agree with that, Dom? Have you? I mean, I know you've been primary long than short, but have you felt like I have felt it to my core, where that is one of the reasons why I'm very motivated to swing trade, because like I don't want to deal with it anymore. I'm tired of getting squeezed by other people who just don't know what they're doing. And yeah, I'm part of the problem. I'm part of short selling, but like at some point, it's like I could risk getting blown up on a squeezer, or I can buy a mid cap and make just as much. But I need it instead of 2 hours, I need to wait 2 weeks. Like okay, who cares? You know. Um, that's
Yeah,
kind of
from
where I'm
that
at.
perspective, I definitely see it. And I even see it more of just like thinking differently about small caps, and even with the way a lot of you guys trade gappers, right? It's wide risk and patience for the day instead of let me risk pre-market highs or get in as quickly as possible and risk high a day. It's not about maximizing trade, it's about being right. I feel like short selling, I feel like the risk reward used to be a lot easier to get more of, and now it's really difficult because you have to be so protected by risking yesterday's highs or pre-market highs that like the reward just it's and we're not seeing 20, 30, 40% drops in the morning like we used to. It's usually like you got to wait days or you got to get lucky. Um, but so I do look at just small caps in general from the short side as like I want to participate in as little as possible and either have it be big picture or be on the best of the best. But I also even look at it just on small caps on the long side of just like being a little bit more patient, having a little bit wider risk, holding a little bit longer. Like a lot of what you're doing with the big caps. Um, I've slowly progressed over the years, I feel like, and gone from like buy a swizzle, sell at the end of the day into a like buy the swizzle, sell the spike into swing the next day into can I catch 2 days of the move? Now it's like I could sit in a position like open if I had your average and I could ride that plan. And just more hands off. Like the more just feel like there's so many games on the minute to minute, the tape, the level two, and just trying to detach myself from that and put myself in positions where I don't have to think too much about that because I hate thinking about that stuff because I don't know what it means. But yeah, I agree. And I like the whole swing trading idea a lot because it's just a lot of rinse, repeat, get yourself involved in winners and let them run. And there's not a whole lot of thinking about that.
Right, right. Jabril says, was there ever a runner crazier than FFIE and HKD? I mean, well, crazier is subjective, right? Because I think NASCAR hits at it like, a run in one day or a run in multiple days. Yeah, FFIE going from 4 cents to $4 in 4 days, pretty insane. That's a big move. That is one of the crazier runners of my career for sure. HKD was a bit crazier, not because necessarily it probably went higher in terms of percentages, but it was crazier in just how it played out. It went from something liquid to illiquid to then untradeable, and it just went from 12 to 2,500. It was something else. It was crazy.
And I also think context is so important because like what is the point of answering that question? Have you seen something crazier? I think the craziest ones are the ones you're stuck in. I think iLag is far more crazy
Yeah,
than Fifi because Fifi, you were never really at risk of blowing up. iLag, you blinked 3 times and you were down, I don't know what, 200%, something
yeah,
like that.
quickly.
And you were sized in contextually as if it was going to lose 90% that day. So it's like crazier. Like Fifi isn't that crazy when you look at like it was just 3 days and the last day was a blow off. We say that all the time, right?
Mhm.
Like HKD, I don't really remember in my mind, but like if you got blown up on BMNR a couple months ago when you shorting it over 70s and you're stuck from the 50s and it went to like 160, like that's probably the craziest in your mind because you didn't think it was going there.
Yeah,
QMMM went from like 5 to 300 or something last week. Like
it's crazy. So yeah,
but if you just looked at that and were like, what an idiot, who's shorting that? But if you were the guy shorting it,
like that one's pretty crazy in your mind. Yeah, you almost lost your ass. Yeah, it's a good point. It's a little subjective to everybody how scarred they are depending on the ticker. That's funny. Warren asks Dom, for a breakout such as AC or ATCH, do you ever move your stop up as the price goes higher, or do you stick to the low day no matter what, or something else?
on
Yeah.
ATCH, um, yes, I do move. So for breakouts, really for any of my setups, even on the short side, I just try to do it a little slower because of what we just talked about, not wanting to get squeezed. And how it's always feels like it's a test. Every spike is a test to see if you can survive it. to get the move lower. From the long side, I really want to maximize, and to do that, I usually need to be adding and moving risk up. Um, Contextually, it's always different. So it's situational when I will. I talked about ATCH a lot in the webinar today. It was at 11 a.m. And so that was kind of when it was consolidating above the breakout level of 118 and holding 120. And at that point, I needed to see a new high a day to move risk to that 120 area. Um, so I will move risk. I do move risk. I started out with risk on low day. And then once we broke the highs and broke out over 118, I moved risk to $1. So you can always ask me in the room where I'm risking why, and I will let you know because it's not always the same, but it's usually with the hopes of maximizing my unrealized and getting myself into a spot where if I'm wrong, I still make $1. I still make some money.
And real quick before I answered or before I asked Warren's question, Jabril said shorting the SPY. So I think he was referring to like what strategy he had, and it's like
Puts
Jabril,
overnight or something.
I mean, Jabril, if you're
It sounds like
shorting
just like a gamble every night to have some fun.
yeah, like if you're shorting the SPY and literally it's what is uptrending, the SPY, like you're swimming upriver. I don't know what to tell you. Like, no wonder you're banging your head. No wonder you're frustrated. Like, yeah, that's gonna be a tough one for you. And something to consider, Jabril. I don't know if this is true, but you said you were, if I remember correctly, you mentioned you were short. You were always short something. And if I'm sure this is not the case, but if you were always short SPY overnight, that is probably one of the worst strategies ever. Because on the flip side of that,
because it's a profitable strategy alongside.
yes, I have yet to really do it because I'm lazy, don't really care to. But like the gains from the stock market are in the gaps. It is not in the trading, at least for the SPY. And what I mean by that is that there was someone who backtested this, and they looked at if you bought the open and sold the close, like in a retirement account. So let's say someone had a 401k and they bought the close and sold the open versus buying the open and selling the close. So someone is in for all day of trading and then someone is in only for overnight and that is it. The one that bought the open and sold the close was practically break even over like 30 years. Okay, the account that bought the close and sold the open was up more than what the S&P 500 returned. Like the S&P 500 returned 300% in 30 years or something like that. This thing was up like 600%. It was almost like significantly higher. So just in general, shorting the overall indexes on any given day statistically puts you in a position to catch a gap up. I know there's some days there's going to be a gap down, given news, given you have a fundamental thesis behind it, whatever. But like just across the board, any given general average day in the stock market, like it's the gaps that give you the return. And so, yeah, like anyone who does that would be banging their head against the wall because you are literally fighting an uptrend, and doing the exact opposite will be so much more easy in terms of a headache.
Just start rooting for it to go up.
Yeah. Easier said than done, but if you can just switch that mental game, going long on some things is so much easier. Question about AI. Projections with AI, how it will impact markets. Do you think day trading will continue to provide opportunity once robots take over?
You know my answer. Come on.
Yeah, I think the exact opposite here. I think human behavior and human discretionary gambling is bigger than it's ever been. Like people will willing to bet on any sport. I mean, Robinhood just opened up last year. People being willing to, or earlier this year, you could bet on NCAA games. Like the gamification of gambling, whether it's through trading, the casino, sports betting, has never been bigger. So when we say AI is coming, again, I mean, there's already been algos galore in the markets for years. So unless the algos get even more intense, which is probably a possibility, sure. But again, even if you had AI, no AI is going to be able to predict or manage a runner going up 4,000%. You know what I mean? Like there's such outlier moves because humans can just be so volatile emotionally. Like, I'm sure there's going to be ways we will have to adapt, no doubt about it. But like to think that AI is just going to ruin all edges in day trading in general, like I couldn't disagree more. I think it will be around for a very long time. And even if it does change, there will be a new edge that appears, right? There will be something new that pops up that AI
Women's
isn't.
tennis.
Yeah, like I'll just start betting on the weather, right? You know what I mean? I don't necessarily see it like that. I hope, I hope I'm not wrong, and then we all get out of a job, right? But I think it's gonna be a long time away from that. Because think about it this way: someone has to create the AI. It's not like AI just creates itself and now it's here to take our jobs as traders. Like someone would have to be willing to do it and then implement it and then make it so good that it puts even almost them out of a job. You know what I mean? Like you would have, it would be such a level of, I don't know the right word for this, but you would have to go down such that rabbit hole to even risk putting the AI in a small cap space that's so crazy. Like it just, at some level it probably happens, but I think it's a very long ways away, if ever. For that reason. Like, again, it goes back to the reason of like, why do we trade small caps in the first place? Because big hedge funds who do have algos or who do have much bigger accounts than we do, or do have way faster reaction times than we do because they have computers trading for them, that's why they don't touch small caps. Because they don't want to deal with the volatility. They don't want to deal with traders like you and me fighting over bids and asks and guessing where we think that, like, it's a whole other ball game. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost, put it this way. FanDuel or DraftKings wants to bet on the NBA games. They're not gonna bet on your local high school game, right? The local high school game is the small caps that do whatever and have volatile, insane moves. The NBA is the Apple, the Amazon, the Google, the ones that everyone can feel comfortable betting on. You know what I mean? So hopefully that analogy works. But last couple questions here. How large of an account do you think you need to swing trade if you had to start under PT again?
That.
Say it again, Dom.
Oh, those are two different questions.
Yeah. How quickly you grow an account as possible, assuming risk-adjusted taking experience. Again, we kind of answered like at least Cool Moggy's eyes. He's like $1 million. I think you could do it swing trading with a low six-figure account. You just have to either have your expectations set early.
It's a buying power to risk problem.
Yeah. Once you start swing trading, you'll realize how quickly you run out of buying power, and you will miss opportunities because you physically don't have buying power.
Even if you're not risking full.
Right. You'd be like half R and you're full. You're going to be half R in 20 different positions, and all of a sudden you can't buy your 21st because you're out of BP. So it's doable. Just know there's trade-offs. And then starting under PDT, would you use a cash account, or would you grow your account quickly or use a cash account? Oh, because a cash account, you could just buy as many times as you want with the cash that's available.
It's just saying if you were under PDT or you had a cash account, but it was small, how would you grow it?
I would use PDT no matter what.
Same way as before.
Yeah, me and Dom would just try to repeat what we've done. I would stick with PDT. I never had a cash account. Didn't really need
Neither.
one. Yeah,
I feel like Bryce was the only guy I knew who did that.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have a PDT account, I mean, I think when you're that early on trading, you probably shouldn't take more than 3 trades a month. I know a lot of people disagree with that, but like when I was growing my account,
if you need it so bad, open 2 or 3 3K accounts then, and give yourself 6 or 9.
Right. Yeah, because if you really get good at being selective, which is what PDT does, like there's really you could argue there's really going to be only 3, 6, maybe 9 trades a week that will actually make a difference in your small account, and so getting good at identifying those and then only taking those, I think, easier said than done, right? There's going to be times you don't take them or you do take them and they don't work out kind of thing. But, I would, when you get efficient and good, less trades is more, and you don't need unlimited trades to really push your equity.
The one problem I do have with the PDT for that is it still is super annoying. Like, how many times do you get in a position, get out, and then get back in, and then it works? Like, you kind of throw away a second or third try when you're under PDT because there's so much more pressure on the first one. I think that also helps because it forces you to use a real risk level versus when you go from PDT to having a non-PDT account, you sometimes will jump into things early, cut it, jump back in, cut it because there's no ramifications. Mm-hmm. But having that extra, like, this is my 3rd day trade and it stops you out by a penny, then you want to get back in, you can't get back in. That's kind of frustrating. But I would look for maximizing big winners, focusing on swing trading, not like Kyle swing trading, but get a good position with wide risk, tighten it up into after hours, and swing the next day. I would try to combine what I do with breakouts with like Don Juan strategy and the last part of that being really important, like maximizing at 8 p.m. Eastern, like right now, and then selling at 4 a.m. Like I would definitely have a broker that trades 4 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yeah, early on. All right, we'll do two more questions. I'll pick one more, and then Dom, you feel free if you see one that you like. Pick one.
Tacos.
Tacos. Dom's ready to eat some dinner. Where is it here? Nikita asks, struggling shorting tickers that are green in the day. Wanted to short OPI and Wolf yesterday, but looking back at my stats, I am not profitable on them. Okay, first traders are working, but missing out on some of these big opportunities. Should I hold off? And what works on my account? I would do a deep dive on why you're losing, right? Because here's the thing, you know they're working, right? You know the first red days are working, whether they start red in the day, like a gap down, or if they gap up like OPI or Wolf, and then eventually roll over red, whether it's in the morning or the afternoon, right? OPI being in the morning, Wolf being in like midday going in the afternoon. So you know they're working, but for whatever reason you have not made money on them yet. I would really kind of try to dissect that and be like, well, why? Did I short too early and got chopped up? Did I short too late and miss the move? Like, find that commonality of why you're screwing up, and then use hindsight to kind of not backtest, but to show you where you should have gotten short. Right? Maybe it was the new low of day, and it had to be a new low of day that was after the first 15 minutes, right? Like the first low of day move was a fake out, and the next one is real. Or on Wolf, like you had to wait for the breakout level to actually resist, and then it started to roll over. And once it broke support levels, then the panic happened. Like really try to reverse engineer it, because again, you know they work, right? It's just how do you position yourself accordingly to then be there at the right time and not stop out for losses beforehand. Again, easier said than done, but like that, I mean, that's refining any strategy, right? Like every trade I take, I go back and be like, where did I make the right decisions? Where did I make the wrong decisions? How do I continue doing what's right? How do I stop doing what's wrong? Right? That is like the name of the game for me. So that is what I'd recommend you do in this scenario. So, anyways, see anything you like there, Dom?
I don't really see. There's some conversations going on. Um, Someone says
Do you
anyone
see
holding
that?
ATCH overnight? I'm sure there are. Um, JC says I think many short sellers blew up their accounts last week with those crazy runs. There's been so much short inventory available on Webull since last Friday. Man, you guys be looking at stuff that I don't even know what it means. Um, I'm so stupid. But short inventory on Webull, does that mean you can short on Webull?
Like how many shorts are available? How many borrows are available at Webull? Yeah.
Does that have anything to do with shorts being blown up?
It could be. I don't know if there's just endless borrows available, so they just keep shorting more, and Webull's probably a small
Oh, you
account
mean
holder.
just dumb people are shorting?
Yeah, just shorting just because they're shares. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. The funny thing about the market is it's cyclical. The same someone else will get squeezed again tomorrow or the next week or whatever. It's kind of crazy when we see it happen time after time, like we did last week with multiple thousands of percent movers. But we do try to teach that over at Clover, how to avoid some of those pitfalls. We've all been squeezed. Raise your hand, Kyle, if you've been squeezed to the high heavens. Traded something we shouldn't have, traded some wacky Chinese company, traded something that's $40 a share, but has only traded a 100K in volume. We've been we've been
We've
there.
done it all. We've done it all.
And we try to help you guys avoid those pitfalls because sometimes, and we've mentioned this a few times over the past year. I see some of these like QMMMs, and I'm like, I don't even feel the need anymore to want to click the buttons on those ones. Where I know there's probably some temptation earlier on when you see those crazy moves, when you see a stock go from 5 to 100. How do you not get involved? But get squeezed a time or two, get stuck in a T12 haul by being long one of them.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You'll learn the lessons. So I do think a lot of shorts probably did get squeezed out last week. It's unfortunate. It's sad. It is preventable. And that's what we try to do over at Clover. Get you focus on the right things. Me and Kyle post a watch list every single night. We were all over ATCH. We were been all over open. And hopefully we can help you avoid a QMMM every now and then.
Yeah. I love it. Alrighty, folks, a lot of good questions today. Thanks for joining us as always. Like and subscribe, and then we will be live tomorrow morning, 8:45 Eastern. And then for you, 4-leaf clovers and black clovers, immediately after Good Morning NASDAQ is then a live trading webinar with, I believe, myself, and then Huddie will be joining us, and then he will be back in the States on Friday. So exciting rest of the
Sure, he
week.
will.
Yeah, right. But anyway, guys.
Right.
Yeah, right. Have a great rest of your Wednesday night, everybody, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.